elaborate also on the definition of artificial intelligence that we were talking about. And Chris Tucci, you will be the next, and you use Teams, because I saw an email from Chris that was asking which mean does he want to use.
Thank you very much. I wanted to sit down because I didn't want to adopt the teaching mood, so maybe more small talks with you. But I've been given the hat or the cap of the computer scientist. Actually, I'm not a computer scientist. I don't know if I'm in the wrong room. I'm a computer engineer, but actually I'm a design scientist. So I design tools and study the best way in which people should interact with these tools to improve what we want to improve in a particular work setting. So I think that my contribution could be aimed at the first topic you put on the table. It's a pity that we don't have them because I noticed that we don't know exactly how work will change in the next few months or years, thanks to these. And also, if I'm not wrong, we don't know really how artificial intelligence could become a proficient, an effective teaching tool. So I think that for now, we should focus on the first topic. It is about what we want managers to learn and how we have to change our curricula, our syllabus to have managers to learn new skills or all the skills that must be in some way adapted to the new market and to the new situation. So obviously in this room, everyone here knows what and who managers are. People who are called to manage work processes and the people, the workers involved in these work processes. But maybe I should be honest, frank, clear, explicit on what I mean with artificial intelligence. Obviously now we have all a consensus definition that is available of artificial intelligence. It is written down on a European regulation, so it's clear. Well, not so much because it's a particularly vague and wide definition, as usually legal definitions are. But we know that we are talking about powerful tools that are capable to influence the environment with which they interact. But it's also important for me, it's written AI, but for me it could be read advanced informatics, with an opportunity to be read also in terms of augmented human intelligence. So it's always AI, but we can interpret it depending on the perspective we wish to adopt. So if we consider this kind of tool, a tool by which to augment work processes, we have also to understand exactly what we really want to augment. So, in my opinion, the very first skill that managers should acquire to be ready to the new context in which AI could be a driver, a factor for competitive advantage, should be able to frame the problem rather than finding a solution, finding the right way to solve the problem. So if we want to frame the problem how to take advantage of these tools, in my opinion, we can consider three big questions. The first one, what to automate. That means to identify the tasks that should be automated with this powerful tool that is artificial intelligence. But more than that, better than this, we should try to understand what parts of each work process, of each work task, we should automate. Because it makes a big difference if we want to automate judgment tasks or creative tasks or tasks in which the problem space is explored to find viable solutions. Or even if we want just to automate manual tasks like text production tasks. So we have to understand what we want to automate, and the managers are called to understand this. And then we have also to understand how much we should automate those tasks or those components, the so-called detailed working activities that every task encompasses. And how much means also to understand the level of automation, how much we want to delegate to these kind of tools that are quite autonomous by the very definition of AI and can also adapt to the context, always depending on the definition. And to understand how much to automate and also what to automate is also important, the last question, maybe the most important one, that is why we want to automate. Obviously we want to improve something like efficiency, so we want to reduce costs, we want to improve effectiveness, we want to improve maybe also even the worker satisfaction, the comfort, no? The fact that they can devote themselves to better tasks, more creative tasks, more interpersonal relational tasks instead of dealing with the documents or administrative tasks. So once we have clear in mind, and managers have to have clear in mind the reasons, the objectives, so we could also rephrase this question in terms of objective or goal identification, then we can understand how to address, if not to answer, the first two questions. What to automate and how to automate. And these are not, how to say, questions that are given for granted. Maybe during the years, well, digitization of work processes is a long process that maybe began in the 70s, the 80s, the personal computing revolution also in the 90s has changed a little bit the scenario. Now AI, that I see as advanced informatics, so not really a big deal, a big difference with respect to the past, now has put these kind of questions even more up front. And this means that managers do really have to be serious about these questions, even more than in the past. And we have to teach them how to, especially how to frame these phenomena that are very complex, and obviously will depend on the context when they are in some way expressed by the work settings where the managers work. So in my opinion, our main mission in managerial education is to help these people frame the problem, frame the question in a proper way and also in a responsible way. The last word that I would leave to share for the discussion is the word of sustainability. Obviously, it's an important and quite common word about the fact that these technologies could consume a lot of natural resources. This is environmental sustainability, but there are many other kinds of sustainability, and I would like to focus on the social and the human sustainability. Managers have to understand that the more they dedicate in a work process to AI, the less they are requiring from workers. And so in some way they are nurturing a process we don't really know about the fact that these people could be skilled or reskilled in ways that maybe undermine very important skills. I'm talking now of the skills of the workers, not of the managers, but the people who are managed by the managers. And so I think that now more than ever we have to have managers be responsible for their work and also be aware of the consequences of automating without minding about these three questions. What to automate, how to automate, and why. Thank you.
Okay, before I give the word to Chris Tucci, who is in London at Imperial College, let me advise Alex Mueller, who is going to speak after Chris. And also do prepare some questions so that we can then answer from here. So please, it's your turn.
Great, thank you very much. Let's see if you can pull me up there on the screen. And there I am. Hi, everybody. Very sorry. Oh, thank you for waiting. Sorry to miss the festival this year. I really thank you for the invitation. I would love to be there in person, and I hope that maybe next year I could come. I could come and be with you in person. Something like quadruple booked today. One thing I think is really interesting here is that right now we're all practitioners. Which is kind of an unusual role. At least for me, I don't think of myself as a practitioner, but here I'm actually talking about practitioner things. And one of the things that I've been working on, actually I have a new gig that I'm part-time right now, creating a new university in Saudi Arabia, in the NEOM region. And I'm working on a lot of curriculum design, new technology in the classroom. And so I'm really feeling like I'm a kind of a practitioner in this area, and I'm curious, and I love hearing all of these comments about what other people are doing and thinking about. One thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately has been, new AI business models. And in this space, one of the things that stands out, that's been mentioned a couple times already, is sort of this hyper-specialization due to artificial intelligence. And I think that's a really interesting area. It has a lot of some pluses and minuses. Let me just give you a couple ideas about some of the things I'm actually working on right now or even thinking about. One of them is sort of using it as a teacher, AI used in the classroom for hyper-specialization. So that could range from everything from you develop a chatbot, which we just tried this year at Imperial, the students can interact with. That's basically you upload the materials to the class or so forth, and they can have an interactive personal experience with the chatbot. And the next step in that, of course, is to make a kind of an avatar or a deep fake. And I'm actually working on this right now, making a deep fake and then it's not a hyper-personalized one, it's just a way to update your material really quickly. So imagine, because right now I'm teaching digital transformation, digital technologies, so forth, AI in business, and these things are changing all the time. And I can't just be running to the studio every 2 weeks to make new material up. So one of the thoughts was, why don't we make an avatar and make a deep fake of me? And then when something changes in the field, I can just go in and change and edit a script, and it'll automatically redo it with my voice, with my correct movements. You've probably seen some of these demos lately that show how you could interpret the words on a script. And you can interpret the words on a script, and then the avatar will actually change the look on his or her face to reflect that. So I think this is quite a very interesting development, and and then of course you can go even further and have even like a specialized avatar that does individualized instruction for students, which I think is quite interesting. Of course, there are off-the-shelf services out there right now that are more like beta testing services where students can upload materials, and then they can use the system will help them study by quizzing them on the material. So I think this is quite nice. Another area that I think is very interesting is the idea of having cameras or monitors or sensors in the classroom, and kind of keeping track of who's engaged and who's not engaged, or when people are bored, or when, and this could be a service for the professor, or it could be a service to help the students, like, maybe you need to give this person extra material in a certain area. Now, this obviously has some major sort of privacy implications, right? Because now you're monitoring people in a classroom, and they would have to agree to that, which is but it's something that we need to address because it's probably going to happen in the next couple of years. So So I think that's quite interesting. Another thing that I think is very interesting right now is the learning not only about the material, but about prompt engineering, let's just say. So I don't consider it cheating for people to use LLMs. I think it's actually healthy for us to have students use them. And so, we'll give them an essay, and then instead of them answering the essay, we'll say, type it into an LLM, or maybe compare a couple different ones, or try different ways of approaching this essay. And then what they can do is they can write a critique of the responses that they got from different LLMs, which I think is quite interesting. Finally, let me talk a little bit about content. So if we're teaching content, I feel like the digital strategy element of this doesn't change very much, with regard to AI, just new technology applied to the same thinking in terms of, cost, efficiency, new products, new services, new business models. How do you think about that sort of thing? So I feel like that's not going to change very much in terms of that kind of content. We do teach a new module called, I'm teaching different modules. One of them is called AI Ventures, where we talk about entrepreneurship, but we also give them some AI-specific information, such as data network effects, why they're important, and some specific things in that space. So that's kind of interesting. Maybe we'll give them some technology training, but again, I think a lot of the technology things are becoming more or less obsolete. Just saying software engineering is getting automated and so forth. And my last comment about automation is, automation, I'm studying automation in other contexts, and yet it can be applied to us too. So, yes, you mentioned, I think Emma mentioned grading or marking as something that could be automated, and that's kind of, of course, I couldn't wait for that moment to happen, to fully automate this. But do we really want to automate promotions of professors? Could do. That's only one step past the marking of student exams, right? So I think we have to tread cautiously here, and I've been working on a project with Gianvito Lazzola, Margherita Pagani, on thinking about why and when we can automate